todos.
Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Vânia Gracio. I'm CEO of Sync Communication, Sync Comunicação, and I'm here to help with the discussion here. These are our experts who are responsible for this subject of the Metaverse that is really interesting, and we are going to discuss the Metaverse, the new digital frontier for businesses. And for many people, there is no doubt that the Metaverse is really the new frontier for entrepreneurs, and that everything is going to happen in multiple metaverses. But how are these things going to happen? There are still a lot of questions to answer for small and medium companies. What's going to be the role of these companies? What's going to be the role of the public power? And to find out where we are today and what's the future of this technology, we have here today Erick Martins. He's the strategic partner manager for Meta Facebook. Maycon Stahelin, he's digital transformation for the Ministry of Economy, and Gustavo Magalhães, Vice President of InvestSP. And we're going to start with Erick to talk a little bit about the Metaverse owned by Meta. Welcome. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Vânia. It's great to be here to discuss this relevant subject for all of us. When we talk about innovation, the Metaverse, well, we can start talking about it, of how much we believe it, that it's only a new phase of the Internet. We understand the Metaverse and technology evolve and has democratized the space for everyone in the way we communicate, the way we work, the way we interact. And we believe that we come from this journey since the telephone, when we used telephone as our means of communication. Then we consider Web 1.0 with the computer, and then Web 2.0, which is more democratic and more accessible to everyone. And we believe that the natural evolution will be Web 3.0 will be the next step, which will be what we call the Metaverse, where we will no longer have the experience that we have today of just looking at the Internet, having a screen in the middle there, but then we'll be inside the Internet, inside immersive environments, 3D environments where we can work, we can interact, have fun in a much more immersive way, in a much more interactive way. Now, Michael would like to talk about your experience with the Metaverse. Yes, first of all, in the Ministry of Economy, as the government, we see the Metaverse in a broader way. The VR technologies and augmented reality technologies, this will enable Industry 4.0. It's a whole set of technologies that in the last few years has been revolutionizing many sectors with the development of new cutting-edge technologies, and also the adoption of such technologies to increase productivity for the companies, new business models, and companies that from all sectors, a lot of startups arising and working with the Metaverse. And the Metaverse is one of these, like Erick just mentioned, one of the new version, not new version, but the future of interaction online on the Internet. It's a strong trend. And as the government, we've been striving in the last couple of years to have these cutting-edge technologies and Industry 4.0 as priorities, in the sense that we are trying to have a strategy and planning for innovation to help the companies to develop themselves and to learn about these technologies and develop new solutions based on these cutting-edge technologies here in Brazil. I think this is our main goal. We have several initiatives that are specific, and considering in a broader spectrum, we have a lot of a chain of programs for startups, and a lot of startups who are working on this segment. In the Ministry of Economy, for example, in the subsecretariat that I run today, we have a program called Inovativa Brasil to accelerate the startups and other initiatives as well connected to this initiative. Last year we approved the startup legal milestone, which improved the business environment, made things simpler for these companies, so that these innovative companies can come to fruition here in our country, in Brazil. And one piece of technology that is the basis for the metaverse to consolidate itself and is 5G, of course, so that people have the capacity to have quality interaction in the metaverse. 5G is necessary. So recently, last year, we had a bid which was a great success with several investment obligations for the operators and companies, and starting to make it available with some expansion in the last few years. And our main priority for the ministry, we are designing an agenda focusing on specifically the new government. We're going to launch this real soon. Is an agenda that focuses on promoting solutions based on 5G. And initially, in the beginning of the moment of the auction, we have seen the initial focus on the bid itself, on the infrastructure, what the operators will offer, the 5G signal, which is the first step, of course. But the great opportunities that we see and for companies here in Brazil to really develop solutions based on this 5G infrastructure. And solutions inside the metaverse are the ones that have the greatest potential for growth. So we've been developing a few of these initiatives. We have a new project with a group of universities from the northeast region of Brazil, which is going to be launched very soon. It's more related to software. But all these initiatives have the goal of promoting these 5G-based solutions, and we see that things related to metaverse are the main niche for this at the first moment. Perfect. Gustavo, can you mention how the metaverse has been used in InvestSP? Yes, first of all, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. First, I wanted to introduce myself because a lot of people don't know InvestSP, and we are a state government agency that promotes investment in the state of São Paulo, either foreign investments from abroad Brazil to São Paulo or from other regions in Brazil to São Paulo. And I was invited for this panel here, and I saw that we needed to say how Invest São Paulo acts today with the metaverse. Actually, we are trying to build something of how we can help with the metaverse, because currently it's a very new, recent technology, and in fact we are not working with it yet. We're trying to understand what our role would be with the possibility of companies, especially small and medium companies, starting to learn about this environment and try to gather some interest about the environment. And for a few months I've been trying to understand how it works. I joke at home that my wife, she's from a Japanese origin, and she has a cousin that one day wanted to have a meeting for all the kids in the family to explain the metaverse. And then he started explaining about Fortnite, saying that we are already living this, and people are saying that this is something that is far away from our understanding, but we're already living it. And today I had an experience to talk to on the booth down there on the first floor. I have the experience to test the metaverse environment with a car, where we could see how we can do the prototype of an electric vehicle and how to use the electric vehicle and how to charge the electric vehicle. And this was incredible. And I think that this type of experience is what really is going to start to disseminate the possibilities that the companies have to use the metaverse in their businesses. So I think that the role of Invest São Paulo is as to attract investments, instead of having specific programs similar to what the Ministry of Economy has to promote exportation, to promote startups. We were creating environments that allow the development of startups, we are also going to need to create an environment to learn about the technology of the metaverse. So the role of Invest São Paulo in this process can start from this starting point to promote environment within Invest São Paulo where companies can come to us to generate their businesses, and they also should have this knowledge available to learn about the metaverse and who can produce using the metaverse, like Facebook or any other companies can collaborate and contribute to the creation of this metaverse. Because for small companies, they feel that they're so far away removed from these professionals, and to learn how to contact these professionals to produce something that is feasible for these companies and to generate profit using this tool, Invest São Paulo can contribute with this environment and with this approximation between these companies and these professionals. I think this is our first role here. And Erick, now you can talk a little bit about how the metaverse is already present at Meta products, right? Yes, and a lot of what Gustavo and Mike already said, we understand the metaverse today with the technology that we have available. We, like Gustavo mentioned, we think that most people have this feeling that the metaverse is going to be a button that we're going to press and it's going to transform everything that we know today, when in reality, technologies that are part of our daily routines, like augmented reality, for example, that allows us to use the filters that we use in social media, or for change our faces, or filters with makeup, for example, but also for filters that use the rear camera of your cell phone and bring some experience that will help us to have a more immersive experience. So an example that we have here in our event today, if you use the VR glasses, we can be teletransported into an environment and have this feeling of being in a different place and being able to do something that in the past was too expensive or too difficult to do. Now there are many examples available, from the most advanced to the most simple ones that I just mentioned here. But one that I like the most is there's an app available on the same VR device that helps drivers to learn how to drive buses. So imagine if you can have more professionals and more professions learning how to do their job and take decisions that in the past would be much more difficult. It's hard sometimes to drive a bus and to teach someone to drive a bus with the bus itself, but now we have this immersive experience within the app, within this environment, that will make it really easy for these professionals to, and for these companies to train and practice. And that's why we believe that this universe will allow more interaction, more innovation, and more creativity, as the examples we just mentioned. So we've seen this happen nowadays. It's really important to emphasize that not exclusively because of Meta and with what Maycon and Gustavo were saying, with many participants will be required to make this metaverse a real thing. We talk about virtual reality and augmented reality, mixed reality as part of this construct, but the metaverse is not owned by Meta, as the internet is not owned by any specific company or anyone. Everybody is part of this environment, everybody coexists in this environment. The metaverse will be built, will be created by all the companies that are creating the basis, the foundation of this environment. And we believe that we have a long-term view of it, but we believe that today you can already start experimenting with it. And it's important to say that the metaverse, there's not a single definition of metaverse in the industry, in the market. This is the concept that we understand at Meta is this immersive environment where people and companies can connect to each other and feel more present and more immersed in this experience that they normally wouldn't be able to do with people who are somewhere else in the world, either watching a show or playing a game or working. All these examples that we've already seen happening today are examples of the beginning of what we understand as the metaverse. but it's important to say that it's an invitation for everyone to be part of it, to build it with Meta and all the other companies who are asking themselves, so how can we be part of it? I think the most important is education and really start doing things and experimenting with things and trying to understand how this platform and how this technology works, because it's very complex, but it's not new. It's something that we've been talking about, this Metaverse, for many years. We've been talking about these technologies, blockchain, Web3, which are allowing us to build this foundation for many years. So it's important to say that we're still in the beginning of the Metaverse and still inviting a lot of players from this ecosystem to really help us build this together. It's something that it's part of our daily routines. It's part of something that we've seen for many years, and we can already do a lot of things in the Metaverse. Michael, would you like to bring some other examples? Yes, I would like to comment a little bit the example that Gustavo just mentioned about this experience with the electric vehicle in the first floor and the Senai unit in Salvador. It's a very interesting experience. You use the VR glasses, and we think about some things that are more disclosed today or disseminated today because of the work of Meta and other companies. We think about the direct end-user applications, are these filters or this more things related to entertainment or social living. But there's different applications as well. That's why I like the experiment and the first floor here. And thinking as the government, as the ministry, how these technologies can help promote economic development and innovation in the country as a whole, generate job positions and income, because this is our role as public policy. These applications in the productive sector are also really interesting. This example here from Senai is really interesting because you just put on the VR glasses and you can see the prototypes of the car from different dimensions and angles, different models, and so potential customers and even for the companies that develop these cars, the partnership from Senai here is with Ford. So even for the engineers of the automotive company, there's a lot of uses for this technology, because they mentioned that the main goal for them was to reduce the physical prototypes as much as possible, because there are a lot of costs involved, a lot of time involved, things can go wrong. So the more you can virtualize this process, you're gaining in time, you're reducing costs, you're gaining in terms of scale, and making the company more productive. And there's also the experience of the electric vehicle and how to recharge it, right? This is, of course, experience more for the end user, but bringing information to the company as well to improve this experience for the user with lower costs, more efficiency. And another example that I found was really interesting, and I was searching before our panel here, smaller startups, for example. Of course, in this case, we're talking about Ford and Senai, which are big institutes and big company here in Brazil, to develop this cutting-edge technology to have this application. But an example that I saw that was really cool was a startup that participated in our Innovativo program in 2015. It's called Imercio VR, and they have a solution that is for real estate professionals and architects and decorators to have this immersive environment that is a local environment to show the plan for the end customer, or instead of having to go visit the place, you go to the website of the broker, of the real estate broker, and you can see different houses in an immersive way. The architect, for example, is going to show how a renovation is going to happen. You can sometimes it's difficult to use only the physical blueprint, and so there's applications like I mentioned based on 5G and Metaverse. This technology is a technology that enables a lot of things that we can even imagine, the different things that we're going to be able to do with these technologies that are coming with the Metaverse. And
then how we can do it, like from the government side, that more companies will develop the most solution that will be useful for the market, because we want to create jobs, we want to create income. And also another main structure regarding, politics that I would like to highlight here is there is one institution, I'm not sure if you're all familiar with, it's called Embrapa. It's Brazilian company regarding research and industrial innovation. So we from the economy ministry, we also participated, and the work from Embrapa is to do the interaction between the academic world and the companies. So they actually give resources for the companies, to go, like for the institutions or from a private institution or a federal institution for education. I think you have more than 70 institutes that are subscribed. So they do academic research from the demand of the companies, and part of it it's funded by public resources through Embrapa. And now they're having a new project which is the Competence Center. So besides the companies that already exist, immersive technologies regarding to virtual world. So this is what we're saying right now, right? A metaverse. So I think up to the end of the year we should select. There's a selection process going on at the moment, and one of those research institutes will receive 60 million of reais to do one excellence competence center in this topic specifically. I think there's like other 4 thematic regarding health and other ones, But I wanted to be like a global center, to help companies with scientific research and technology, but linking it with the actions to strengthen the technology and scientific competencies in Brazil, but also, to capacitate human resources, because, we have a lot of lack of, labor in technologies. Every single week, we either hear something or someone comes talks to us because they're not being able to find, very well capacitated people to work in the sector, So all of this IT sector, we know that, we have this bottleneck, and we have like the competence departments, So we should be able to, make sure that we have qualified labor for those systems, and we should be able to do the communication between the academic sector and the companies, so that we're able to actually develop, expand the options that we have available in this metaverse, and I'm sure that we'll be able to increase even more the possibilities in the next few years. Perfect. Gustavo would like to say something? Yes, I would like to go along with the lines of what Maycon has just said, regarding this capacity. When we're talking about the technology sector, we know that we lack professionals, and one of the main roles, of course, here we have, the economy ministry to give the incentives, but one of the roles from Invest São Paulo is to attract investments, not only, looking for investments for the sake of it, but also looking for the critical points within the government that we can collaborate with, because Invest São Paulo, the main goal of the company is to receive the companies, understand their issues, offer the opportunities that we do have mapped already or that we have already created within the state. For example, in São Paulo, you have a great logistic infrastructures. You have, a lot of advantage for those companies, and we have this mapped already, and then we can just go ahead and mention them whenever they require it. But we also have some issues that we don't have solutions for them, and they need to be better developed. And one of them is actually the capacitation. So I think that our main role in this case specifically is to promote this interaction with the government, because this is the role of Invest São Paulo. We interact with every single department of our state government, so we have the autonomy to do these interactions, and also to promote and, you know, to give our opinion on courses and empowerment courses, you know. Let's say that a specific industry needs a specific type of labor. So Invest São Paulo, throughout their own mechanisms, they can promote in the technical schools, you know, how to create the courses to, you know, prepare those professionals. So this is also part of what we do. So we have to create, within Invest São Paulo, we still have to create the departments that will facilitate those smaller companies, because in a specific moment they will require it, and this creates, you know, cost reduction. You can promote sales. I have one colleague that is here with me, and he was just telling me that someone that he knows is trying to promote the environment for example, you know, regarding clothing marketing. Of course, that, you know, we have to develop somehow the experience to try on the clothing, you know, how would that clothes fit on you. So we're going to come to a point where the companies will require this option, you know, in order to improve their market, to increase their market. So Invest São Paulo is open to understand those main difficulties that the market might have, so we can try to find out a way to help them out, you know. So we are able to create this environment, a favorable environment where we have people, qualified people within Invest São Paulo, and then we can work in a partnership with Meta to have those people with us. Then we'll be able to quickly be able to advertise the opportunities that we have. And then, Eric, we have here in our audience a lot of great people related to the innovation. So how do you think that Metaverse is applicable to business, so can help the companies to be even more innovative? I would like to take this opportunity to reflect on the opportunities that we have within Metaverse. For example, sometimes we have the feeling, or we hear people saying that Metaverse will be a replication of the physical world. But actually, we understand that we don't need to, you know, be obliged the same time and space physical rules that we have in our real world. We have the possibility to explore much further, you know, other barriers and other ways of being present in those environments. So the example that Gustavo has just mentioned, for example, nowadays it's actually possible to we have Meta Avatar Store, which is a very important point regarding the Metaverso, with our representation in those environments. So the avatar, how we see ourselves in this environment, will be our representation, and we'll be able to have those type of experiences. For example, I should be able to choose the clothes that my avatar will be wearing. And why not having a brand that I enjoy, that I like, you know? Why not using my avatar with a brand that I really like in real life, you know? Not only just replicating that experience. For example, maybe a T-shirt that it's white here could be something completely different and innovative, you know, something that has wings attached to it, you know, something very different from what we are. So let's say if you want to have like a dragon wing, or to be very different from what you are in real life, have a different hairstyle, for example. So that's why we understand that's very important, you know, because the experiences, they will not, they are not restricted to the reality itself, you know. We have infinity possibilities. Yes, and those options, they are all like, what will this environment allow us to do it, you know, in a more innovative ways? Because the geographic spaces are falling apart, you know. It's like someone that is here in São Paulo and someone who is in the northeast of Brazil, for example, or in different places of the world, they might be able to collaborate in a much faster and easier way. So this will be able, like, to increase creativity, to explore things differently, how to explore the market. And I also would like to highlight how important it is, when we're talking about education. We spoke about capacitations, and we, as companies, we are investing a lot on it. So I'm sure that you heard about the investments that we're doing on education, and one of the main investments is, the content in Portuguese that we're working with. We know that our market in the country doesn't have a lot of access on technology because of the availability of it on English only. So we are making sure that every single content that is available in English should also be available in Portuguese. So people should have access to those technologies and understand them so they can be part of it, and they will not just sit back and watch, as you've mentioned. And people should be able, to learn from now, should be able to gather the knowledge from it right now, because virtual reality is a reality nowadays for business, for people. So we are seeing, QR code everywhere, and we have the possibility, just to scan the QR code and have a different experience, So going back to your question, if you're a cosmetic brand, for example, and you have a specific way that you should apply that product, and people are quite curious, should, apply on the face, on your hands, how do you do it? And why you cannot have a filter where you can actually read that QR code and display how you can actually use that specific product. We've seen experience in the, automotive departments, you show the QR code, you show the cell phone for the car dashboard, and then it tells why was the car created like that, what are the buttons about, why is all those functions important for the car. So all of those things, they're already available. So we want to make sure that people are getting involved with it, because people have this myth that those things are complex. Those things are something that they will never be able to reach it, And we do have a lot of examples of creators that, they live from creating filters, creating amplified reality, increased reality. And they had never seen this type of technology before, So they studied, they looked for it, and now they're actually working for huge companies, and they're creating their own agencies. So this is something that's very important to, bring here, because the examples that we do have, they are not unique. They are not specific, and we cannot say that Metaverse, it's only those examples that I'm putting on the table, but those examples are actually what can, trigger the curiosity and the interest of those who are actually listening to us right now, They can also say, I can do it, I can create it, I can create a very important experience for myself as I created. Because we should also say that the companies are not the only ones, They are part of the ecosystems, but the creators are also part of the ecosystems. Individual creators, people that can actually develop and create their own companies. But this ecosystem will be part of all of those main keys: the companies, the creators, the platforms, and technology itself. I agree with you, and I think the more we can break on this wall that sets us apart on how we can actually produce or how we can do something regarding this topic, it's what's going to allow this technology to be more frequently used. That's what I'm saying, that Invest São Paulo is open for those that are interested in what we're saying, Maybe they might come up and say, I have no idea, how can I do something like that? Well, we also don't know how, but we have the right contact, to link people and make sure that those experiences, they become the reality as soon as possible. So I think it's all a combo. from companies, from the governments, and we have to promote contact between people and companies that somehow they would like to promote this environment, to find out what is actually possible, how to do it, and then we can move towards these directions and, promote this creation opportunity. Michael, would you like to add something to what we're saying? Actually, I want to ask Erick a question. We spoke about the developers, So my question is, Facebook, of course, and the other platforms, Instagram and, WhatsApp, they are big platforms, So people can actually connect through them. And then we can, of course, create a lot of business, startups. The market can actually work and create business on your platforms. So how do you plan, thinking about Metaverse to, Facebook even change the name, thinking about it. How do you plan, or if you're already doing, or if you're planning to do it, to increase and to, work on those ecosystems of business based on your platform? As I've mentioned, we are investing a lot on education, and this is the first step that we are taking in order to make sure that independently of who is the, even if it's the individual, if it's a company, if it's a business, if it's the government, education is the first base, We need everyone to have access to it, to have knowledge from it, and to know what's being done. So we are investing a lot in partnerships with companies like Coursera, for example, that they are making those courses available in Portuguese, in Latin America, and in Spanish. So we are making sure that we can guarantee that people have access to this information. So then the companies will be part of, building up this world with us. So Meta is really investing on it. Recently, I was glad to be part of a project that's called, where we brought education for the Black community, so that this community would be part of this construction. So this example made sure that we were able to bring education and bring information that might look from far away, something that is not accessible, but it's something that for those that most of the times don't have access to this technology. So this is an example of how Meta is actually investing in communities, just like the Black communities, or the communities as developers, companies. So we got to make sure that education is the foundation of it, and it's very democratic. Education is not exclusive from Meta. It's not going to be built only by Meta. So it's a group work, from all of those companies that already put it here on the table.
Perfect. Would you like to say anything, Michael? So we're almost in the end of our panel, so I'd like you to say your final messages, something you want to say for those who are here in the audience, and we're going to have the online audience as well. So what message would you like to convey to these people? Just to wrap up, I would like to, on the same subject, our platform, our official education platform is called Blueprint. So meta.blueprint.com, blueprint.meta.com, I'm not sure 100%, but if you look for it, for Meta Blueprint, you'll find it. All the content that is available today, and we have a lot of content available for all levels, for the most basic to the most advanced level, and people who really want to have some certification for the market that will allow the companies to see you as someone who really knows about the metaverse, and also for companies who are willing to show the market that they have their own business as an innovative business. We have different levels of education and recognition and certification in the market. So as a last message, I would like to reinforce the importance of how much the metaverse it's important to have everything involved in the metaverse, and therefore we need everybody to have access to this information. And our platform, Meta Blueprint and Meta Spark, which is our platform for creation of augmented reality, they're available for free. This is really important to emphasize. All the content that I just mentioned here is free and can be accessed in Portuguese or Spanish as well, in addition to other languages outside Latin America. So yeah, that's the message I would like to say, and basically an invitation to tell you that we're here talking about innovation, so it's important to have everyone looking in the same direction and with appetite and with interest to really be part of it. Because like I said in the beginning of our panel here, it's not a turn that's going to be key that's going to be turned overnight and then everybody's in a metaverse boom. No, this is a long-term view of 5 to 10, 15 years that will have different steps and different stages. Several devices will come up, different technologies of software and hardware will come up, and the more people and more companies from different areas are part of this construct, the better environment we'll have in the future. We believe that the metaverse will be an environment that is better than we have today in Internet 2.0, and that's why we need everyone to participate, all companies or people, creators, to participate since the beginning. That's the message I would like to leave here with you. So the address is facebook.blueprint.com. Thank you. So soon we'll be Meta. Okay, nice. Thanks. I would say that since Erick already advertised for his website, I'm going to say that those who want to contact Invest São Paulo, please look for investsp.org and get in touch with us. We have several possibilities to attract these investments and attract companies that want to expand their investments by means of exportation. We have specific programs for exportation. We have 4 international offices where we not only collect foreign investments for São Paulo, but also promote internationalization of Brazilian companies. So we have offices in China, Dubai, Germany, and New York. And these offices promote this possibility. So companies, please get in touch with us to learn more about it. And we have an environment that is for startups. We are trying to go in deeper and deeper into this environment and betting on it to create a possibility so that these companies are able to get in touch with us and interact with us in this startup ecosystem. So there are different possibilities from Invest São Paulo. Just reminding that Invest São Paulo is a government agency. It's free of charge. So we provide consultancy free of charge to these companies that want to invest and expand their capacity here and ability here in the state. And finally, I think we're going to be open as well to join this metaverse world and help these companies to find these spaces with partnerships with Meta and other companies that may come up to promote this environment as fast as we can. Michael, your last message. Well, first of all, I would like to thank our colleagues here and the organization of the event. It's great to debate the metaverse in this event. And also, I would like to leave you a message that one thing is to reinforce what we just mentioned here, that the companies of all sizes and scales, especially medium-sized and small-sized companies, entrepreneurs and startups, to really see that there's a sea of opportunities to be explored within this new environment and within these new technologies, more specifically the metaverse. There's a lot of new things that are being developed and a lot of new things that can be developed and that are not being developed at the moment, because this technology really opens up more opportunities that for things that we can create and develop that we can even imagine today. And for those who are starting already with the Metaverse, I would like to do my advertisement as well. With the Ministry of Economy, we have our digital transformation department. We have several initiatives, but for the audience here, one that is very interesting is it's Innovativa, like I mentioned. It's a startup acceleration program. So we have a portfolio of initiatives to help the startups. The first one is Innovativa Brazil, and we are finishing this on the first weekend here in December. We're going to have our ending cycle, and next year we'll start with Innovativa Brazil. The site change, I think it's innovativa.online. Now, yeah, it was .com.br, but I think it's .online now. And you have all the information there, and we have a whole chain of support and different initiatives to gather investments and investment funds from other agencies like FINEP and BNDES and these promotion agencies that support those companies that are starting so that they can really take advantage of these opportunities and that are in front of them with this new technology that we have today. That's it. Thank you. I'd like to thank you, innovativa.online. Yes, that's it. Yeah, it changed and I have the previous address on my head. So we're going to wrap up on time. Thanks everyone for your time, for being here, for all of this discussion. Erick, Maycon, Gustavo, it was a lecture, and I'd like to ask you for a round of applause to our experts and colleagues. Thanks everyone.